and welcome everyone for this new presentation. I want to introduce someone who is someone that I enjoy and someone who's coming to be a good friend. But first, I want to talk about what an image consultant is, because I feel like it's a completely misunderstood industry. And I know I've met image consultants and I thought it was going to be like a movie and they were going to advise me on my appearance and the way I carry myself. And instead it was just, selling makeup. It was a multi-level marketing thing. And so I thought, oh, image consultants aren't a real thing. But then I met Cecilia Stoeckicht, and she made me realize that this is a real thing. It's not just in movies. The label has maybe been taken astray a little bit, but she's here to bring it back and teach us about what image consultants actually do and how you can apply these concepts to your virtual presence and your virtual brand here in the Zoom world that we live in right now. So without further ado, let me introduce Cecilia Stoeckicht of Image Atelier.
Thank you so much, Denise. Thank you so much, Jen. And what I'm going to do, I will share my screen so we can start. So we are going to be talking today about virtually representing your brand and why that is so important in today's world, right? So why virtual presence? First of all, this is a new reality and it's here to stay. With the pandemic, it just accelerates the process for us to be working in a virtual environment. And that's the new reality for us. Why virtual presence? Because we live in a distraction environment. We have all these noises happening around us, and we need to know how to quiet this voice to have a very impactful and meaningful presence virtually. And despite every challenge that we have in the virtual world, we still need to sell ourselves, sell our services, and reach our objectives that we have on our meetings. And the most important point, we want to be remembered. We want to have that impactful presence with others and be remembered in our interaction. So that's what happened, right? In the past, you would have me in 3 dimensions. I would be talking in front of you, moving around, reading the room, seeing your body language, seeing the cues, and perhaps even changing my way of presenting to you because I can read the signs that you are sending to me. Now, do like this and do like this. That's our size. We lost 1 dimension. We are in 2 dimensions. And for us to be impactful and have really create this rapport, we need new skills that before was not important for us. When we meet person face to face, we read body language, and there is a body language category that we say that we mirror the other person. So when we meet person face to face, we start like subconsciously doing the same movements that the other person does. Even our breathing, we match that. So we create that rapport and trust. Now that's gone. I cannot read anyone. What I have is my screen. So that's the importance why we need to control the message that we have. Now let's make 2 separations here. Everybody has an image, don't we? We all have an appearance, we all have our manners, but in the moment that you are in the marketplace, in the moment that you have a business, in the moment that you are representing a company, now you have a personal brand. You have to represent your own business. So how you look, your website, how you post things online, all need to have a consistent message among them. So that's what we're going to be talking about in terms how you can keep that consistency in a remote world. So in 2013, when they interviewed the founder of Zoom, they asked him how people should come to a video conference. And the answer was, you should come to a video conference as you would meet someone in person, face to face. My question is, are you going to meet someone face to face in pajama pants? Perhaps not. I, as an image consultant, would I go in a t-shirt without makeup, without put my accessories? For sure not. So why that should be different when we are meeting someone in a virtual world? So there is what we call screen aesthetic. And that means aesthetic means a pleasing appearance. One time that is taken care of, we can focus on our goals for the meetings and our objectives. But we have to be sure that all these elements are taken care of. In the past, I could meet with a prospect client or even a client in a coffee shop. What was around me was not important. The important was my message, the tone of my voice, that I was interacting with the person. Now I have to think about my background. I have to think about my light. That's all part of my appearance now. And that's what we're going to address during this presentation. Appearance. I am unapologetic, and I will tell you how important it is for our parents to take care of our appearance in the remote world. Our triangle of communication is eyes and mouth. When we turn the camera off, we are adding another barrier for us to be impactful. So, if you like or not, it's extremely important to keep your cameras on for you to have a higher virtual impact. And we know that also, if we make the purpose of dressing to be attending a meeting, that will affect us emotionally, mentally, and we will create a trust in our communication. Also, if we make the effort to show up, dress for a meeting, and people will see me in the screen saying, oh, she has earrings, she has necklace, she has makeup. She takes attention to details. How our brain works, it's going to translate that attention to details that I did to my physical, take care of myself, to my professional skills. If she takes care of her attention to details on how she looks, she will take care of attention to details on how I work with her. So think about that. Now, do you remember these two images and how much buzz it creates on Twitter? What that tell us? That tell us that we do look how people, we pay attention in what people wear. We do pay attention. So why not to take control of how we dress to send the message that we want to send about ourselves, even in the virtual world. So when we are in the virtual world, we talk about waist level wear. The name says everything, right? It's from waist up. When the pandemic just started, they caught a reporter from one of these morning shows, all dressed up in jacket and a shirt like the middle image for the man there, like this. But then he was too far from the camera and they got his legs and he had a briefs. So people noticed that. What we have to remember is the following. Don't you like the latest cell phone? We changed our computers to have a high resolution camera, right? AG camera. As the rise of the megapixels goes in our electronics, so does the capacity of our audience to see tiny flaws in our appearance on the other side. So when we dress, our clothes should be impeccable, no wrinkles, no stain. We need to be careful with small details, grooming, all that play a very important role because our cameras are getting everything. In terms of color, in the past, I would dress and not worry about the colors. I would use my color palette that I have to dress. Now, for me to be in a virtual world, I have to pay attention and think about my background that in the past, I wouldn't work. I am a fair person. If I take my jacket that is a light top, I would basically be transparent towards my back wall. So you have to create contrast in regards your wall. You have to think about color in that sense. No longer how you look good, but how you look towards your background. Then we have to think about this. Higher the contrast, more authority you have. Medium contrast, more approachability you have. So in the sense, you have to see with whom you are interacting and how you like to, the message that you want to send. You have to think like this. For men, we think like this. Jacket, no jacket, long sleeves, short sleeves, collar, no collar. For women, we think jacket, no jacket, long sleeves, short sleeves, sleeveless. So in the remote world, for women in general, we should avoid to show too much skin because the eye will be attracted to that. We have to be careful with prints because if you have stripes, the eye follow the line and that can make us look even wider than we want to really look. We need to think about fitting. If you show any horizontal lines in your garment in the screen, means that that top is too tight for you. So we have to think all these details. What comes below the waist? I really don't care at this moment, taking consideration that you are seated. But if you're going to leave your chair, you have to turn your camera off. For women, it's important to add some color in your face, like a lipstick, mascara. If you have a very light eyebrow, define your eyebrows, because we need a definition when we are showing ourselves in the screen. So a jacket can dress a t-shirt, as a necklace can dress a plain top. So keep that in your mind. If you are going to attend a jacket, add authority immediately to anyone. If you are not into structure jacket, tailor jacket, even a cardigan during summertime would give you more authority than if you are showing yourself with sleeveless or just a t-shirt. Now, in the past, who cares about light, right? Now we need to take care about light. We have to think about that too. So it's extremely important to think about light because depending on the angle of your camera and the light in your face, it can make us look rest or can give the appearance of looking very tired. So we need to avoid to sit behind a window because we be looking at like a silhouette. We never should be involved in a conference, in a video conference, sitting on the bed. We have these new ring lights and we have to be careful because sometimes you can look like a ghost. And we need to avoid a light hitting just half of her face because it gives all that shadows and we look like more tired. And for men, it shows the beard that looks like he just left the bed and didn't take care of himself. So light is a must. If you're going to continue working in the hybrid way, and that is the best light actually would be a natural light. I don't have that facility in my studio, so I create this small environment here for me to be interacting with you. But the best light is the one that comes and hits you direct in the face, natural light. So background, let's have some fun here, right? So what backdrops say about you and about me? So the color that we pick, as I said, needs to be taken consideration to our background, our backdrop. The background should not compete with me. It should complement me. The background talks about who I am in one way or the other. It should be aligned with my brand, right? You don't want too busy. And in the past COVID, if you see all these interviews, there was some people that publish a book and suddenly the bookshelf behind them only have his books there. So he was promoting his book over there. So we have to think how to use the background in our favor and not against us. So if the background is very busy, the attention will be in the back and not on ourselves. Let's talk a little bit about virtual background. Some of us use virtual background, but let's have a pause here. If you are representing your business and you are in a meeting, would it be appropriate and authentic to put yourself in the beach with the palm leaves moving? No, that's not what your business is, right? That would be appropriate if your job would be to do tours in the beach. Then you have a palm tree with a beach there. If not, it's better to create even a plain wall with nothing competing with you. Some of us has the background as our logo, as our brand, and that's okay with the condition that you have a green screen behind you. And by my personal experience, I find out that the green screen needs to be really close to your chair. Otherwise, you will still parts of your body will disappear when you move. So think about it, how you have your screen. Also, we need to center our shot. What that means? This means, one, I am too close, you're not seeing my eyes. One, I am too low. One, I am too far. And one, I am looking down. Like if I was imagine if you sit in your bed and your laptop is there and you're looking down. All of that are wrong shots. We have to center our shot when we are putting ourselves in a meeting. And that's it. That's my studio that you're seeing out there. So you just center your shot correctly. And for that, we're going to be talking more how you do that. So communication is one of the hardest ones because our attention span is shorter than a goldfish. Don't you agree? This. Think about it. We have our phones. If you are like homeschooling still, you have your kids around, you have your phone, you have your tablet, you have all these noises around you that distract us. So it's very important when we are interacting in a virtual world that you are 100% of time there. So it's like if you were meeting with a client face to face in a meeting, would you be looking your messages in your phone? No, that would be considered extremely rude and disrespectful, right? So why do that when we are interacting with someone in the virtual world? The rules don't change in that sense. So communication is really, really harder in the virtual world. Why? We have to speak slower. We have to speak lower and you have to speak clear. Imagine how hard it is for me having a strong accent to speak clear in the virtual world, and some words may come in the wrong way. When communicating in the virtual world, we have to use some power words. And some of these power words are because, you, new, instant, and your name. People like to hear their name being called. You create connection when you call someone by their name. So these are power words. We have to avoid TLAs, buzzwords, and fillers. I was training. I always train for my presentations, and I I have to think in English to present, and I stop. And then my computer says, stop saying, but it's my way of thinking to speak in English. So we have to be very aware on how expressions that we use and to support us. So breathe and then move forward. What I want to introduce you now is to a new concept here. As I said, words have power, but in the virtual world, less words has more power. And when communicating, it's fascinating, right? You want to create rapport and you ask everybody to join the meeting with their mic off. Then if you turn off your mic, you turn off your camera, then you don't have your mic and you don't have your camera to be able to communicate. So we have all these barriers, and how you want to interrupt someone and how want to disagree with someone in a meeting. Things become much harder. So for that, I want to introduce you the concept of emotional bank. Emotional bank concept came from Stephen Covey on the 7 habits of highly effective people. And the simple way is that you have to deposit in someone's emotional bank before you withdraw. So when you are interrupting someone, you are withdrawing. When you are disagreeing with someone, you are withdrawing. So when we are interrupting, you should be in a neutral mode. You shouldn't send any sign of negative like emotion and be angry. The same thing when you are disagreeing. So how the elegant interruption works in the virtual world? It happens in 3 ways, in 3 points. You state the name of the person you are interrupting. And I will use Jane as an example. Jen, then you say your name and you state exactly what you did. This is Cecilia. I interrupt you. Then you add a power word because now I have to deposit on Jen's emotional bank before I withdraw. You made a very good point, and I would like to explore more. So you doing 3 times again. You say the name of the person, say your name and state what you did. I interrupt. This is Cecilia. I interrupt you. Use a power word and then deposit. Say something positive. You did a very good point, and then you state what you want. In terms of the disagree without being disagreeable, we are all in the playing field here, right? No one is better than the other one here. And we need to disagree, but you don't want to damage relationships, right? You just want to disagree and not damage relationships. So the concept of depositing and withdrawing is valid here. And for that, we have to eliminate from our vocabulary the word but. because but send the message that anything that comes after before that but is not good. And that's not the message that you want to send. So you can say, I have heard and understood what you said, and where we disagree is this. Or you can use comparison. Where we agree is this, and this, and where we disagree is this. Seems simple, right? It's just like one word. But I notice myself how many times I use the word but. And even when I speak to my husband, I try to use this technique because you receive in a very different feeling if you use and instead of. And then if you are having a discussion, it's important to summarize and move on and not stay there into the discussion. So keep in mind depositing in the emotional bank before you withdraw. Demeanor, body language. Oh, Cecilia, you just talked about we lost all the body languages that we had before. Yes, we did. But there is a body language in terms of how we position ourselves in terms of the screen and how we sit. So that is the body language involved in the remote world. So how you position yourself. Stretch your arm to the front. Are you one arm length from your screen? That's where you should be, one arm length from your screen. Lines and angles are better than contours and curves. So this is more powerful than this. How we should sit. We should sit straight and tall and no slouching. Just changing in the screen. Can you see the difference if I do this and if I do this, or if I do this, or if I do this? Which one has more power if I stay like this? So what we have to keep in mind is that to keep this position for more than an hour is painful. I will completely agree. So if you are like running longer meetings and want to keep the engagement of your audience, give a break. Just go 45 minutes, give a break. People turn off the cameras, go and walk, stretch, and then they can come back and they can continue engaging with you. Because the important part is to keep the engagement with the person that you are talking to. So how you connect with each other, right? So if I keep my head straight like this, I pass the message that I have more conviction. If I turn my head slightly tilted, I am more approachable. We have to use our hands to really be more impactful in the message that we are sending. But we have to keep our hands into our box. And what is the box? Shoulder to shoulder in this level over here. Because if we bring our hands towards the front, it become huge, it become deformed. So we have to use our hands to help with our message, but we have to keep our hands in our box. Another point is how will you engage with someone there, right? How they know you are listening. How many times I attend network conferences and I see people working the computer and listening to the screen. How you need to have that rapport. How you know that people are listening to you. You nod very slow. That sends the message to the person that's listening to you that you are engaged and that you are listening. What happens if I do this? What message I'm sending? Yeah, go, 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 move, 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 move. I'm done with you. Fast, go fast. So we have to be very careful on how we nod our head and engage with someone that we are talking to. Also, don't forget, smile. It's very important to smile because that break barriers and open doors. You connect with someone when you smile. Finally, we are here. Eye contact. When we networking face to face, right? We always say, oh, it's important to shake hands and keep eye contact and look in the eyes. We even give like image consultants specialized in body language said, imagine that someone has a third eye over here. So you look, you shake hands. So how you keep eye contact in the virtual world? How you look at them when actually you're not looking at them. So you keep eye contact when you look to the camera. So I'm talking to you and I'm looking to the camera. I'm not looking really to my screen. And what is very disturbing, I will say, is to have your picture showing up in the sense because our eye will be drawn to that, to look yourself there. So the solution is, or you put yourself in the middle of your screen and you look yourself there, or you eliminate all the images and you just look. You don't only look to the screen and doesn't look to yourself. So how you put the computer, your laptop or desktop to have eye contact. So you raise your computer in the level of your eye, where you have gaze to the camera or slightly high. And then you add the support under your laptop, or you play with your chair if you have a desktop, so you are in the same level there. So I'm looking to you. Many women that friends of mine said, oh, I hate my neck when I am on a virtual call. You hate your neck because your computer is not in your eye level, is down, and the camera is getting all this angle over here. So let's be creative, right? If you know you're going back in the real world and you no longer will have to interact in the virtual environment. In this case, I use a tray, that I have in my closet that I never use and find out that I could do that until I bought my laptop support that I have now. So be creative. And what you said, wow, you have your studio, you create that, you have your lights. What if I cannot afford to buy my lights? What if I cannot afford to invest in a support? And here I am. I put myself in the desk in my bedroom. My window is in front of me, and I want you to see how amazing it is, the light in my face, how beautiful, like, not that I'm beautiful. What I want to say is that how perfect the light is in my face. So we are not asking for anyone living in the virtual world, interacting in the remote world, to be a TV host. We are not asking for that. What we need to have control is understand how we are perceived on the screen. Clothes are symbols. Combined with our body language and our verbal communication, we control the message we want to pass about ourselves and our business. And sometimes technology, internet band doesn't help. So if you will, sometimes we have to ask attendees, to everybody, to turn off their cameras so we can have a better interaction, right? The minimum you can have is to have on your Zoom a recent professional headshot of yourself. Instead to have a phone, you have yourself there. Because sometimes technology will ask us to all turn off our cameras. And when we turn off our cameras, you have a professional shot of yourself there. So I don't know if I did my 30 minutes or not, but I am open to any questions you may have. There is much more, but I was very concerned about the time. So Jen, if you have any questions from someone, I will glad to respond.
Okay, I actually think what we're going to do is turn off the Facebook live stream so that people feel more comfortable in the Zoom to turn their cameras on and engage. So if you don't mind, quit
Stop
the screen
sharing.
share real quick, and then I'll say
Okay.
goodbye to Facebook. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone who was watching on Facebook. If you ever want to participate in the live Q&As, please consider joining us in these Zoom events. We have several more events planned for the rest of April, so go check those out in the Reveal Your Inner Awesome group. And we will see you again on Friday when Kelsey Stiles will be joining us to talk about video editing and how to create compelling video content. So goodbye, Facebook.